answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Well, you never knew I was going to have a podcast today, did you? You just never know. But it is part 2, Hermetic Alchemy. Part 2 with Rob Hennessy with me. And it appears to be raining in the studio. I'm going to see if I can flip a switch here and stop the rain. There we go. That's much better. I'm leaving at the April 1st mark. The new year will be my final Facebook podcast. And the end of the Truth Table, perhaps. By name, the mission is finished. And if you would like to continue watching any possible future shows, you can follow me on YouTube or Rumble. All my links are in Facebook. My YouTube, what did I forget? Instagram. You can message me on Instagram or X at which I'm live at X, Facebook, and Rumble right now. But we're going to jump right into it. Hermetic Alchemy, Part 2. Tomorrow night, I have Anthony Aguilar, who's a 25-year veteran, who's a whistleblower and a witness to atrocities in Gaza. He has been on Tucker Carlson and many other reputable podcasters. And Tuesday, I have Vincent Garces, a 32-year veteran with the Ontario Provincial Police, and Jody Ledgerwood and Chris Weisdorf to discuss the Adam Skelly barbecue trial and the outcome by the judge. Wednesday, I have Shane Wolf coming on, who has face forward into the climate change alarmism and created a system and a home that was sustainable. And he wasn't, they didn't want it. They don't want solutions. But I am about solutions, and I'm going to lift every stone I can in my last 7 days, or 9 days. But it was quite a journey. I met a lot of different amazing people, and I'm really humbled by the testimonies of my guests. Right now, today, we're really going to get to the core of who you are, how you became, on a chemical level, right from the atom, right from the splitting of the cellular creation that we're a part of. And it's a fascinating topic, but it's also very important to understand how all traditions and religions really come from this teaching. And I really value the education and knowledge of my guest tonight. on this topic, and I hope it helps. Share, like, subscribe. I am leaving Facebook, so if you follow me there, um, you're gonna have to find me on the other platforms after the 31st, and that's uh, also going to be the end of the truth table and the beginning of something new. And new is not necessarily bad, right, Rob? New's okay,
Right.
right? Welcome
New
to
is
the
great.
show,
New. Thank you so much.
part two, and here you are. That's finishing off what we started.
Jeez, you
And that's
almost had me tearing up there.
oh,
No,
sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm
no,
usually
that's
the
fine.
one.
It's
I'm usually the
it
one that
happens.
here tears.
It's been happening lately. But I like
Yes, sir.
the introduction there. When two or more are gathered, um, I am among them, among you. It's I think it's true.
Me
I
too.
think it's absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate
So
you, and I
can
appreciate your ability um, to show people a real fundamental part of a secret knowledge occult that they want to keep hidden. So that's the importance of the show, is showing you something they don't want is something you definitely want to see. Curiosity may have killed the cat, but it didn't necessarily kill us.
that's right.
So thank
Yeah,
you.
Paul, and you're welcome. And this is one of the main things that I should have mentioned the first time, but I didn't. It slipped my mind. But the Hermetic alchemy and alchemy in general is known as the great work.
Mhm.
So I think any of us who are bringing forth the truth, and especially our creations, and in discussing them and discussing anything that really that connects us to source, and that intelligent infinity, and that inspires us to grow in consciousness, I think is the great work. And I definitely totally appreciate the great work that you do, Paul. And
Mm, thank you.
you're on to, if it's going to be the end of the truth table, that it's going to be something really really fun, and I'm sure you'll move on to great things in with doing the great work.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't see myself as important at all, but I am humble, and the body of work is complete. Like you're a part of that body. That information download basically is
Yeah,
what it is. The truth table is finished. I showed you whistleblowers, and what you need, what I feel you need to know, and that's only from my own perspective. So that has limits in its own, right?
sure. Yeah, and all this is from my perspective too. I mean, there's different people who explain it in different ways,
Hmm.
and I'm sure there's a lot of more points that I could use some more clarity on myself, or that you know sometimes I kind of fail to mention stuff or give clarity on certain things. But yeah,
We,
I think it's fun. More and another thing too is that like anybody can learn this. Anybody can learn this. I didn't come across this really in a total altogether teaching
hmm
until I was probably in my mid 30s. And like this could be, imagine somebody onto this information that, as a child, you know, and using these tools and applying this to their lives like right from elementary school. And I tried to share this with my children but at the time I was kind of figuring it all out. They were a bit older. My
hmm
youngest probably started the youngest, and yeah, I think it's good to just to contemplate these things, and um, just some really simple points of how it all works, and it's fun stuff, especially when it gets to the where I left off last time, and I kind of
Oh, there was so much
my
information,
my
though.
tech, I
No, you
know,
did
but my
great.
tech
You did
savviness,
great. You did
Thank you,
great,
thank you.
and your humility basically made you see things that you forgot to say, but really, it was a
Yeah,
huge, huge download. So, I mean, you did a great job, and it's
well,
only
thank
natural
you.
for a humble man to what do you, critique themselves.
Well, like they say in construction, in your house building and stuff like that, is I'm just a simple carpenter, but
Yep.
if it was good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for me.
Yes, I would
You
like to
know,
thank Trisha. I'd like to thank Trisha and Carrie for joining us, my dear friends. It's always a pleasure.
yeah,
But yeah,
well,
I mean, where do we start back? Where we left
well,
off?
I think I just like to say that like I said before, anybody can learn this. It's very simple stuff. I'm not overly intelligent person or a brainiac or anything. I'm just curious, and I always had a love of mystery and solving mystery, and I was
Mhm.
always like to take in real life stories,
Yeah.
and not a big fiction guy. Although I think some fiction stuff is good, is very relative to the truth as well. But I'm nobody's special, and nobody's guru. Everybody's a teacher and student. I have friends younger than me that know a lot more about this than I do, and I'm just glad to have the opportunity to share it. And I think it's important at this time. I think
Yeah,
it's
I
crucial
agree.
at this time. So maybe I could do like just a quick review, because I think that there's a couple points that maybe need a bit more clarity. I think. Um, I
Hmm.
think it's when I put the thing up like that, it's
I
probably a
think we
little more.
really didn't touch on rhythm. I mean, we
No,
touched
we
on
no, we didn't. But
no.
if I could just briefly kind of go over a
Yeah.
couple things, like starting from the top. I think I was saying how,
Yep.
just for a quick review, like we were talking about how the closer we can get to understanding the creator is perhaps through our own creations and through the creation itself, like through nature,
Hmm.
through some of our most precious works of art and creation, like Heaven is Child. So we kind of use that as an analogy, where first you have a will to have a child, you would love to have children. This all comes from love. You would love to have children someday. You'd love to meet a partner, in my case, a woman who to fall in love with, and plan a family, and that it all comes out of love, and that you get to the point where it's like, I love you, will you marry me, and you get married, and then you're kind of creating a life as a couple, which is on another creation. And then you get married, and you may say, I'd love to have a child with you. You would be a real great mother. And then, of course, I love the process of doing that as well. So, let's do it right now. And when you experience that, the whole it's like I don't know, like a ceremony almost, or a ritual. Like if you're really intentional
Yeah,
about it, and
it's
yeah,
true.
and then yeah, if you're doing it with intention, if it's planned, and then yeah, and then you have the baby, and then of course you're gonna love this baby.
Yep. I
Um,
think the choice is whether to do it in sincerity or in lust.
right, right,
So lust would be more of a selfish, greedy, not greedy, but selfish purposes, not out of
sure, sure,
out of relief for relief itself. It's not. It can happen that way, but I don't think it's what was intended. And that's really a parental thing, to instill these values into our children, just to just how important it is.
Yeah, and you're right. Everything can have its. I mean, I like to say it could have its good application or its evil application.
Yeah.
I know some people that's extreme language, but when I say evil, I like to be very clear when I say that word of what I mean. When I say evil, I mean the the deliberate destruction of freedom
Yeah.
of an innocent person or an innocent individual, or even an innocent animal, or unless it's for unless it's for something that sustains life. You know what I mean? Like it's you don't
Hmm.
just go around snuffing out life, right?
Yeah.
It's about you want to nurture life and protect life, and like you would with a child. What do you want for that child? Now, you can everything has its antithesis in it, and it's good application, and it's you're creating in a good for good for the creation itself, and for
The
the
good and the
evolution of the
bad
species.
snake. The good and the bad
And
snake.
that's right. Yes, and when we get down to the
Dualism.
Satanism part, it's like the antithesis of that would be doing it all from ego based, and it's all about you. It's all about it, and then you get into parents raising their
Exactly.
children
Yeah.
to make, like, almost like as a trophy, like for them,
Hmm.
and you see molding their children in ways that's all about them, and ego based, and not allowing their children to be free to become whatever they will and desire themselves to become,
Yeah.
whatever that may look like.
Yep.
So, for us who have good intentions, and are doing this for evolution of humanity itself, and for humanity to live up to its fullest potential. Like I said, it's one of the saddest things for me is untapped potential, especially with people, right? You don't get the environment where you can fully blossom as a co-creator, and as an observer and participator in nature, and be part of that whole
Yep.
process.
100%.
And so, yeah, there's a big difference there to doing things out of like a big ego based um place, or doing it out of love for all of life, and for everything that consciousness has running through it, which sometimes we think that things we don't think of as alive, but actually, if they have consciousness running through them, they're alive. So, you have even things like geology and stones and rocks, and mountains.
Hmm.
They have consciousness running through them. There might be a very base level form, life form that has consciousness running through it, but they have. And it's the same with the plant. Then the plant world maybe is a next level, and then the animal kingdom's another level. And
Hmm.
my wife actually put me onto some very profound material that was called the Law of One, or the raw material, where it was kind of like, it was a little out there, because it was people who were channeling a supposed extraterrestrial being, but
Hmm.
who was a collective. But the wisdom and the knowledge and the wisdom in that, it's curious too, because there was 106 sessions where they channeled and they just wrote this. They just wrote it all down and recorded it. But then there was the introduction and the outro. So it was 108 parts. We got touched on how significant of a number 108 is. But yeah, I just kind of went off on a tangent there. But what
That's
do you think about
okay.
that? So
The
yeah,
thing I think the beauty of with animals is it's all natural. There's no manipulation involved. I mean, there are, like who's the king of the castle stuff going on, and competition between the tigers for the lion, but I don't think they have to deal with what we have to deal with, where it becomes benign and just a physical release instead of an actual respect for the procreation itself as a purpose and a mission.
Mhm. I forgot to ring in our session.
You forgot to what?
Um, I
Our
forgot to ring in
session.
the session. I I was more prepared tonight. Got the incense going. Got
Oh, that's awesome.
my bowl out. So
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, so we went over how it kind of starts with creation starts with the real will to create something. I believe it's all when we're as co-creators, it all comes out of love, and I believe that that's the primordial wave energy
Hmm.
of the universe. And I think
Yep.
that it's when you hear the idea that God spoke the it spoke the universe into existence, that the first that when you speak, it's that sound wave, right? So it's
Yep.
the wave, it's the energy of the wave.
Vibration. Yep. Vibration
Yes,
waves. Yeah, that's like the
and then
will happening with the
yeah,
words.
and then it can take on a wave form, but also there's orbits, there's torus and that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Basically the energy, and I believe the primordial energy of creation is love itself, and it has no opposite. And I think
Hmm.
when you in the Bible, when you hear the term agape, I think there's other terms for it that I don't have it, but that holistic energy of love of creation and everything that just I believe is consciousness itself, or I think that's what the consciousness it is,
Hmm.
perhaps. But yeah, and then so you and then the first action, really, so it goes from the spiritual to the mental to when it comes to physical manifestation, um, in creation, the first thing you should do, I think, you can think it in your mind, but that or in your mind, but then usually the way it happens when you want to take action on something, you speak it, and that's really important. I think it's really important to setting goals. You can write them down, you can have them in your head and stuff like that, but it's when you speak them, that's the first action for them to start happening, to start taking on kind of a life, right? And
Hmm.
of course, you have to act on what you speak. But once you speak it and other people hear it, then things start happening. So I think that's that. I just wanted to touch on that point, that's kind of the beginning of that's kind of where the mentalism, the all is mind, starts becoming manifest, right?
Yep.
And then the other thing I wanted to say is, so the wave is the wave, and then there's, I said, the particle of when in Genesis, when God spoke and said, "Let there be light," and the particle, the photon of light is kind of simple, the simple particle, but also like the fundamental particles of the universe, right? So you got your tons, you got photon, you got proton, neutron, electron, those simple particles. And on different wavelengths and on different frequencies is basically the basic duality that is builds all of physical reality. And and then we got into just to quickly go over it in law. So with will, the will of creation is the law. Um, it's the highest law. That's
Hmm.
why a right is anything that we will to do,
Yeah,
so long as we're not intentionally harming other people and
exactly.
other beings really too, like intentionally
Yeah,
harming just for no other use or no other evolution of enhancing the creation or evolving life. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So people who can do anything they want, so long as they don't harm anybody else, then they're innocent. As long as they're not doing harm, they're innocent. So for somebody else to harm them, if they're not doing harm, is wrong. Right is everything else. That, yeah, as long as you're not doing harm. So it's pretty straightforward. And then it all comes down to all the rules and stuff that we have about what's right and wrong is that basically comes down to theft. Don't steal. That's the basic of it. You can pretty much all the 10 commandments in the Bible are a form of either deceit or lies and deceit or theft, which is kind of goes together. Like they're all really a
yeah,
form of theft.
yeah. I'm not.
So,
Yeah, I don't break them. I don't find them
no,
hard to not break either.
no, of
Not at
course not.
all.
I mean,
I will not
there's
murder.
accidents happen, sure.
Yep.
And
Yep.
but really the law of the land should be natural law, and that's it, because
Mhm.
that's what this is, right?
Well, my
That's
guest
what that
tomorrow. I
that's
mean, he had
that's
this.
our rights. Our rights are natural,
Yeah.
is natural law. We were born with those, and
Yeah.
nobody has a
Agreed.
right to infringe upon them.
Yeah. Well, I
And
feel bad
nobody
for
even
my.
has a right to that. I
I,
actually, around the time I was taking in this law of one material, was very profound, some of the most profound material I've ever read,
yeah.
and I was so into it. I was up for days. And well, when I was going through that, one of the teachings I got out of that, which I never really thought about before, because when we start awakening, we want to wake all of our loved ones up, but we don't want to add to the fear, because the fear is, even though it's real stuff, like the fear is kind of what's breaking down society. So we got to be really careful with that. And not only that, we have no right to infringe on people's choice to remain ignorant. Really, at the end of the day, it's not our duty to run around waking everybody up. That's you know. So these teachings were only given to seekers. You had to be seeking it. So I'm just putting it out there anyway, because I feel like with Paul's audience, and like the ones who are drawn to it are gonna seek it, and the people who just don't want to ignore it are just gonna say it's bull crap anyway. So I'm just putting it out there, and there's so much fear right now, especially over the last 6 years, that it's very important right now. I think that we demystify the occult and these teachings that at times, like the tyrannical authorities of whatever institution, this is such a threat to them that anybody practicing these sort of things and really evolving and learning from nature and living in harmony with nature and stuff like that, we're always the biggest targets. I mean, you think about Jesus himself, right? He became a target from the controlling state, because what he was teaching was a threat to authority, because authority is, there's some kind of like false religions out there, right? That also, because we had talked about how religion can be used, and the teachings can be twisted in order to mind control people, even though there's still a lot of truth perhaps in the holy books and stuff, that they get interpreted in a way that like purposefully. So so uh the institution can basically mind control the masses, and it's really powerful. It might be one of the most powerful institutions of the institutions of religion that can do that. And but there's also there's also like like we don't really think of them as religions, but they kind of become that. Like and they're based on falsehoods. So I would say the biggest one that controls our world, and I believe it's a dogmatic religion, is the religion of money. Money has a lot of control in the world. And there's a reason why on like if you look at the United States dollar bill, that there's so much symbolism on that, and even the pictures, the words, the color. There's a lot of things about the US $1 bill that is it's a mind control talisman in and of itself. These ideas that um, in God we trust, for example. It's like they're trying to program you into believing that it's money that is the life force energy on this planet, which is a lie.
Absolutely.
And then,
Yep.
even when we're talking about isness, if you look at the dollar sign, you think of the dollar sign with the two lines, I think the older dollar sign had the sort of like the S symbol and two lines. Well, if you overlap, or even if it was just one line, you overlap it, is what it is, ISIS. And you overlap that, it becomes a dollar sign. Like that's part of it. That's part of there's a lot of subliminal programming when looking at that bill, and even just thinking about money in general. Currency, current, well, a lot of it's based on maritime admiralty law, so you get current, and birth and all these things, all these words that kind of interact with maritime admiralty law and law of the seas and all this stuff, which is corporate law, which is really kind of run the place.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so, and then the fact that bill is green, the heart chakra, like we talked about, the most abundant color on the planet. It's the color. It's the main color of nature, right? So there's all kinds of others. The 13-step pyramid. Like I could go on and on about the symbolism on the dollar bill that's trying to make us believe that that's basically life itself, or the life
Hmm.
force energy itself, or even like I say, in God we trust. It's on a dollar bill. And trust, right? A trust fund. So the language can be really manipulative. So that's just one thing, the religion of money. Like and how people are so easily bribed. We've seen it over the last 6 years, how people will go against their own moral compass for that false religion of money. And they'll and maybe they think, okay, well, I should do this because I need this to feed my family, or whatever the case may be, but they're making excuses for why they would go against their own morality. But I think that's a trend that's been happening and been amping up over a number of years, that people will sacrifice their own morality basically for money. And,
Yep.
yeah, I don't think it's the root of all evil. I think it's, but that in that way, it's used as a tool for evil to to intentionally destroy other people's freedom.
Yeah.
And then I would say another one that's way up there is another. These are beliefs based on false belief systems. Like what's what the like the way their mind people are mind programmed by these things is not it's not natural, and it's deliberate. That's how they're deliberately trying to take advantage of people and use people in these ways. And so another
Yeah.
big one that's very significant is the religion of government. And government, though, when you break down the etymology of the word government, govern, control, meant mind. It says it right in the title. It's mind control. And so, and the big mind controlling part of this false religion of government is this false belief in authority, and an authority that says, okay, well, I give you permission. I give this group of people permission to be allowed to do harm to
Yeah.
people to innocent people. That's
Yeah.
not the way it's supposed to be, but that's the way it happens. Of course, it's legitimate to want to um, harm people, intentionally harm people by getting them off the street because they're running around stabbing children. Something needs to be done about that. They need to be
Yeah.
incarcerated. They need to be, they may need mental help. They may need, and yeah,
Yeah.
sure,
And
you try to
the
reform
only
them.
solution, the only solution to these problems is addressing the government that actually has that power. Like with the prison system or the court system, catch and release system, that'd be a provincial power. And the only solution is by addressing that power in petition or
Yeah.
picketing, which I would
Yeah, I'm not
recommend.
sure if that does too much nowadays, shaking my fist at the
No,
government for them to change. Like, I mean, we need system change. Like
no,
judicial
oh, I
systems being
agree.
used against us, and
Yep.
they don't let the evidence into court anymore.
No, no,
Like a lot of times they won't argue the science in court because
yep,
experts
yep.
agree. Well, based on what? Show us the evidence that the experts are agreeing on. Why is that never shown?
Yeah. It's been set
You
up
know?
that way because, and it's been timed this way because we're coming to the end of this cycle. So accountability is coming. Restoration of mankind is coming. I have full confidence in that restoration that's happening. And this is the hard part because but you need to know as much as you can know about your situation, why you're here, your purpose, and the foundation of, why you were created is accessible. You just, and hopefully we can give you some answers to
Yeah.
help inspire you to find it.
A good way to come to know who you are is really connect with your ancestry. If you could have I mean, I don't know, like if they're collecting data to use against you when you're doing your genealogy or whatever, but like I think it's
Yeah.
important to know that stuff, and I think it's important to like really dig into the past of it. Because like when I do that, it's almost like, I being like pretty well-rounded Celtic, that, there was times in history that were really oppressive and evil and
Oh yeah.
genocide and everything else. You think of the first genocide in Europe was against the Celts in Gaul, where they said where I think it was Julius Caesar said, kill them all and let God sort them out, like the whole wipe everybody out, and we could
Holy
see we
smokes!
can
I
look
lost
at
your
the
face.
I'm sorry, and like
That's my fault.
and I can spin it a little bit. And
Yeah.
the Gnostic Cathars, that's another one, right? That's another group that was, I mean, a lot of people believe that was actually one of the closest things to like, original Christianity.
Hmm.
Um, that was in France, and they were like wiped out by the Vatican and all that stuff. And then you have
Yeah.
all the atrocities of England against the Irish and against the Scots, and
Yeah, the
like
Vatican stole a lot of historical documents archived in tablets from the Incas and like everywhere.
oh yeah, and
Vatican is bad.
the library at Alexandria, right? Because they would go around, they had their team of scribes that would go out and all the knowledge they would write it down in books. And then once they had that knowledge, like I
Yeah,
think the way it looks, and this is a pattern, remember, it's a pattern recognition, that that's then they burn them. Then they burn the books. Then they burn
yeah,
you know what I mean? And they hoard the ones that they get that they that they copy down. And so that happened in the Great Library at Alexandria as well. And that was what was that? That was around for like what, 1,000 years or something. But when it got down to the end of it, it got destroyed. And that was one of the best examples of history, I think, where like people that just wanted to learn, that people just wanted to know how the world worked and how the universe worked and nature and everything, were part of this culture that was, and it wasn't. This is the beauty of knowledge and
Hmm.
truth. It's
Yep.
not it doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your traditions are, or anything like that, because the most important thing is this. And sharing our stories about it, and sharing our myths, sharing our understanding, and how it's taught in our own language. Like, so we get the spiritual group going now, where we're hoping to bring all these people that have the realization that at the core of all this is the golden rule: don't steal, and they lead with their heart. And
Yeah.
they're not, they realize that we're being programmed, and
Yep.
that the more diverse the better, and the more that we can even go into ceremony together, the better. And I would
Yep.
be up for doing any of that with any tradition, because I know at the root of it's all good. I mean, even like you say, it's somewhat really off track, but like with Islam, for example, like a lot of that's based on Sufism in the beginning, and Sufism is it's pretty cool stuff. There's a lot. They're all about like music, and there's a lot of good stuff in there. But it's always the same pattern, right? Like these control freaks
Huh.
rewrite everything and write these books that are just really meant to control people. And a lot of times too, it's about the guru being able to have sex with everybody. Because they don't have control of their lower chakras. So a lot of religions are
Jeremiah.
based around just perversion. It's
Yep.
perversion of it, and we
Jeremiah
see
8
this.
8. How do ye say we are wise, and the law of the Lord is with us? Lo, certainly in vain made he it. The pen of the scribes is in vain.
Yeah,
That's the old version of Geneva version. But
yeah.
it's basically saying that the pen of the scribe is a lie. So they're telling you they're lying. They snuck it in there,
Yeah, so
admitting to it.
a big way we're mind manipulated, mind controlled through religious institutions. I mean, there's all kinds of ways, but like we were saying last time, that they'll, like, some religions will get you to think. They'll keep your thinking very limited, on a limited timeline, right?
Yep. Yep.
Like, so like it's been said that the idea of reincarnation was cut out of Christianity, for the reason, not maybe not Christianity, but like the Roman Catholic version, that so people wouldn't
Yeah.
think beyond their own lifetimes. and
Yeah.
then uh, and then other groups, that like more natural kind of groups, practitioners and shamanic. I mean, what it all comes down to is, the medicine people of all the people of the land that learn from each other. It's shamanism, right?
Hmm.
It's shamanic cultures, and I
Yeah.
think all over the world there's your shamanic cultures, your natural medicine people, your natural healers, you know,
Hmm.
and they're usually in ancient history, and even now, and we're trying to nurture that and bring all that back again, where um, communities all based around the spiritual, the temple, the spiritual center,
Hmm.
and that, whatever flavor it is, bring it, bring it. This is how we can create unity, like a higher unity of people who've been through all that stuff. And I know we've all been programmed.
Oh
We've
yeah.
all been, for the most part, in school, in whatever, like news, and TV shows and movies and stuff. There's a lot of predictive programming that goes on in that. And
Hmm.
so with this, we talked about how, the all is mind is kind of more, how we said the primordial energy of love is that's part of mind, because if the all is mind, the wave force love energy is that, it's that. And there's no really, it's a very high form of expressing love, to share knowledge and share teachings and share your creations with each other.
Absolutely.
That's a
Yep.
right. That's a very high
Hmm.
way of communicating with our fellow human beings. And so this all is mind kind of encompasses this whole thing. And when the whole idea is like our biggest energy center is the heart. And the mind is not just in your brain. Your mind is your whole, all your energy points and your whole, it runs through your whole being. And but the heart's kind of the main, like, lead. So when you hear lead with your heart, it's kind of, it's basically, it's basically saying, your mind, tap into collective consciousness, tap into the God mind, and lead with that, and follow will of natural law. And so then we get into, that's the first of the seven principles that govern the universe. And I was running through them really quick. Correspondence, as above, so below. Vibration, everything's moves, everything's in motion. Polarity is the dualistic plus minus poles. And they say, like, when you initiate yourself into Hermetic alchemy, one of the things that's said early on is that it's the idea that, like, all of these things that you see here in the in these six principles, it's all the same energy. So there's really no opposites. The opposites are just extremes of the same energy. So, like, if you say, like, darkness versus light, for example, it's all a measure of light, or absence of light. It's darkness is here, and the great white, the white brilliant light is here. But it's the
Any way you
same.
can
It's the
move the
same. It's
camera
it's
a
it's
bit?
it's, it's light. Oh, I'm
Can you
sorry.
can you move the camera a bit? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
a little more. Yeah, perfect. That's great. Excellent.
So that's one example for that. And then the rhythm, everything's in, is a positive, negative, in breath, out breath, kind of flow of energy. And everything has a rhythm to it. The tides and the moon, your breath, all kinds of things. And then karma, I kind of wanted to. There was another thing I wanted to say about that, like how mind manipulators use that against us. So one of them is a time lag. So the cause goes out, but the effects aren't seen for 10 years, 100 years, whatever, and we don't connect. Since there's a time lag could be generations, depending on what you're talking about, right? Like, you talk about sun cycles. So a lot of people believe that the ancients were actually trying to tell us about that some catastrophes that happen on the planet that are relation to sun cycles, or could be an asteroid belt that we go through, or whatever, that they happen on certain in time lapses, right? So, like, the Mayan prophecies are all about that, for example. It's all about, like, these sun cycles, and there's periods of time that perhaps the sun gives off a lot of energy and causes a lot of upheaval on the planet,
Hmm.
and chaos and stuff. You hear about this talked about in all the holy books, all of them, the
Yep.
Bible, the Upanishads, like that. It's talked about. There was, and I believe they're talking about the last ice age, the Younger Dreyfus period, and what happened
Hmm.
there. The the theory that seems to make the most sense to me, is kind of the unifying one, is is exactly that the sun will almost do a mini nova, and all this energy comes out and blasts us, and that wreaks havoc. That seems the most like, because that explains the difference in the difference in atmospheric pressure that would happen if that were to happen. That like that could instantly cause flash freezing, where you get the mastodons and the berries in their mouth for flash frozen and all that stuff, and that it's the Earth was stopped in its orbit and the water kept going. So you can see in the geology that it appears like the oceans flowed over the continents and flowed down the other side. But there's a bunch of evidence like that suggests that something like that happened. On the hot side, rocks turned into glass, and that's consistent on Earth, the Moon, Mars. So there's something like that. Anyways, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but so karma, another thing they do, and this is key. This is how you know what they're doing and why it's not a conspiracy theory. Because they tell you what they're going to do. They write it right out in books and publications, and they say it on the news. You just need to look. You just need to be looking. You just need to be paying attention. And the
Yep.
reason they do that is because they figure if they announce it, that they're insulating themselves from karma. In a way, and in a way, it kind of works, right? Because it's like, well, we
Yep.
told you we were doing that. You should have known. And there's what do they call that in court too? Like you're supposed to know everything when you go into court, and if you don't, if you're ignorant about it, and we take advantage of you getting taken advantage of, well, that's your problem. You should have known
Yeah.
because the
Yep.
information was out there. So when you see Yuval Noah Harari standing up there saying, you're hackable animals, and we're gonna put a chip in your brain, and then your consciousness is going to go up in the cloud, and you're going to become some transhuman cyborg. Well,
Yeah.
he's telling you what they're doing. And
Indeed.
even there's even a National Geographic cover that says 2050, the year man reaches immortality, and there's some cyborg with a thing coming out of his neck plugged into some computer. Like, I mean, there's a transhumanist agenda going on, and there's reasons for that. We'll get to that down here after we do this just quickly. So that's another way they insulate themselves from karma that way, by telling you. But in the end, it's going to come back and bite them. Gender, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. Masculine, feminine, it doesn't. Last time I said it kind of has nothing to do with sex at all. There's no connection, but I mean, of course, there's a connection for everything. But it's not significant connection between gender and sex are two different things. When you say la chien in French or something, it doesn't mean, or I can't remember which one it was. Doesn't mean all dogs are masculine or male or female.
No.
It's right.
That's a great example to bring up because in French,
Yeah.
they assign
Or Spanish,
masculine, but they assign in French masculine and feminine to objects. Like a table is feminine, but the chairs are masculine. There's no
right?
reasoning
But a
reasoning
table
behind
doesn't
it.
have a vagina and a set of and breasts.
It is something
A
though.
table.
It's quite a
So,
thing because I'm part French, so I'm aware of
oh,
that, and
see,
I think it's
I mean,
interesting
we.
correlation that there really is no rules to assigning what's female and male in French. There is in English, but a chair
Mhm.
goes into a table. So perhaps that would be why it's a
Right,
met,
right,
right?
right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I never thought about it that way.
Only
Yeah, because
only in that
I
case
mean, there's all
though.
kinds of male, female that
Yeah, yeah,
the man that like the male's the giver and the female's the
yeah.
receiver, and
But a
that
lot of
so you got your male, female, mechanical connections
yep.
and threads on pipes and plugging into a socket and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of our the mysteries we're looking to discover are hidden in different languages, and I showed that with
oh yeah,
Latin and the name
yeah,
Vatican. So I
yeah.
mean, it's proven to me. I'm convinced, and I'm willing to share it and die
Oh
for
yeah,
it. I
and
stand in the
like
truth.
sure, and the English language can be very manipulative, very manipulative.
Yep.
The
Yep.
way they demonize words, like I mean, one good one that I need, but we need to take them back. We need to take them back and tell people what they
Yep.
really mean.
We do.
People are And the reason why people are so freaked out about the word anarchy is because
Mhm.
that's the way.
Yeah.
If you ask an anarchist and you actually look at what it really means, it's
Mhm.
it's archon. It comes from archon, which is a Gnostic tradition. And there's a big story about the archons and how they're this synthetic cyborg type beings,
Yeah.
soulless, that are
Yeah.
trying to turn humanity into a synthetic virtual reality species in a
Yes.
synthetic virtual reality world. And that's
Yeah.
unfolding right now.
Yeah. And the sad part for me is in my investigation, my research, I find out that the ability to store new memories is stopped with this technology. So you have to take a memory and remove it and replace it with a new memory. Like it's erasing these the memory of these people, like a dementia, but
Mhm.
through technology in a controlled fashion where their new reality can be easily.
Oh yeah, and I think they're getting to a point where they can program new memories in your head that was, never
Yep.
really happened. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantasize about future events that are never really happening.
Yep.
And like I mean, they do all kinds of stuff like that. That's why I mean, when you read, if you read Orwell's 1984, it basically tells you that the party rewrites history, right? Like it's their version of history that you get, and there's a lot of propaganda around
I didn't
historical
like
events.
that book. I didn't like that book very much.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a hat that says "Make Orwell fiction again." Because we don't want 1984 turning into Animal Farm.
All I know for
Revolution
sure is
Revolution accomplishes nothing. Remember that.
all I know for sure is, I love being a part of this, and I love that you're a part of it because we're really infusing, we're catalyst to what's happening right now. It's not coming, we're in it, and it's
And we're
important
in
that
it,
yeah, it's
very
important to
much so.
know that you're special, even if you're alone by yourself in poverty like me. Even though I don't look like I'm poor, I had jobs and I did well in certain things, and I enjoyed every experience, and I grew from my mistakes. And I'm becoming. I'm still becoming. I'm not
Yes.
here. I'm still in action.
And
And
one beautiful thing, since we're talking about language, I like to say about be viewed as native cultures or indigenous cultures, is how anything that has consciousness running through it is a verb.
right.
There's no
Yep.
the right is that right, Paul?
Yep.
It's all verbiage because it's doing this, it's doing these,
Hmm.
right? It's in vibration. It's in correspondence, in and out. Related to what's above, what's below, what's within, what's without. It's in vibration. There's a polarity to it. There's rhythm to it. There's like all these things, and some of these things are quite dynamic. And the way told you how it's that's one of the main laws of science, is that everything wants to be in equilibrium. So it's out of balance and wants to get back to equilibrium. So that's the basic understanding of dynamics, of movement, of everything, right? And we
Yep.
can influence that too
Hmm.
with,
Yeah, we're doing it. We're part of it, and we're
mhm.
very proactive. You know what? The creator told me to leave Facebook. It wasn't a personal thing. It
Yeah,
wasn't.
well,
It was a timing thing. Like March 5th, like the star, the King of Stars or Star of Kings. I mean, it's going to be monumental, but I want to be able to prepare our fellow man for what's coming. And March has been tough, but it's been preordained, pre-planned. Like 9/11, it's all been prepared by very dark sources, and
yeah,
no
well,
understanding who you are. is the best way to empower our fellow man is to show you your power.
Right. And if you can realize that power, which is one of the 9 loves of the wisdom goddess, by the way, in Gnostic tradition, it's empowerment.
Yeah.
So what Paul and I are doing here we want to empower other people. And it's not about domination to take advantage of them. It's about nurturing and protecting people to be the best that they can be and become, in their own unique way too. And if people can recognize that spark of the divine within them, I think, it's because because of all the programming stuff, we can be like a lot of our population can be quite self-loathing, and there's a lot of that being pushed too. Humans are bad. We're a cancer on the planet. There's all kinds of it, right? Oh, the white race is bad because they did all the genocide and like all these things to make us feel bad about ourselves.
Yep.
When um, that's done for a reason. That's done to keep us down, and so keep us depressed and anxious, and so we can't flourish. Because
Yes.
the way all the so-called elites are getting rich is they're taking everything from the common people, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
They steal the gold and then they loan money on that gold without moving it.
yeah.
It's the
So then
easiest
we got
money
into
we
this.
can make.
Yeah, then we get into the 7 liberal arts and science. Liberal as in to be liberated, to be taking the liberation to be an actual with to create with intention. That's what this part's about. These are the Prince guide, the guidelines of it all. This is where you actually start, like actually manifest in physical reality and create and put it out there in the world. And so we talked about we talked about this is pretty we talked about the trivia method of coming to the truth. So grammar, um, collecting all the information, left, right, center, all of it. Logic, how do I feel about it? What are the people who are telling the story? What are their intentions? Are they good people? Are they bad people? Are they trying to manipulate? Are they trying to enlighten? Are they is it are they all is it about money, that those sort of things, and then you kind of put the two together and come up with, and then it just comes down to Occam's razor. Basically it just pops out at you. It's the simplest thing that once you cross reference it, you say, okay, on all these points, it's like, well, of course. So that's not, people who do this aren't crazy conspiracy theorists. There's evidence and science behind it all. So then this is the trivium is this 3 and the quadrivium, and we were just kind of getting into this last time where arithmetic, and we were particularly talking about the phi ratios, because the phi ratio, or what they call the golden ratio, in this 1.6, I think it's 1.618. But this is
Yeah.
the
Well.
most
Yeah.
fascinating thing. This is the most fascinating thing for me, and the reason why they call all this sacred when you with this phi and pi, but phi
Mhm.
especially, I find, because when you look at an irrational number, that means it's non-repeating, non-terminating decimal.
Right.
They took these numbers to, I think, millions of decimal. I don't know how, millions of decimal places. There's no pattern. There's no pattern. They're irrational. We can't understand them if there's no pattern. If we can only comprehend in pattern recognition, which pattern recognition is actually the key to enlightenment. In my view, it's definitely a big part of it. So if it's what we can't, if it's an infinite, if it's really infinite decimal places with no pattern, it's chaos. For we can't in a way, right? We can't comprehend it. Just like we can't comprehend source energy, intelligent infinity, omnipresence, and all these things. So this must be in the realm of that, right? So that's why it's known as sacred. But out of this random, non-patterned chaos comes all the patterns. Isn't that interesting?
It is. It's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, it's natural creativity.
All these numbers that you see in arithmetic, like when you go through Fibonacci sequence, and and that's a way of decoding the holy books, right? And that's the way of knowing that there's a lot of truth in them. Because
Yeah.
I mean, and when you go through, I'll just take a quick. I mean, I'll just take a quick look right now. I think I saved it as a picture. Like some of the numbers in Fibonacci sequence, and the diatonic scale of music as well. Um,
Hmm.
so what's that? That's
I'm trying
so
different things
certain
here.
numbers, certain numbers come up, right? What's this? 72. That's. So if we look at the Fibonacci numbers, you'll see that they're repeated in the Bible, and you'll see that just the numbers themselves, like when you look at, you know,
Wait, but wait,
2,
they
3, 5, 8, 13, 21. You go start counting things in nature on
yeah, but
leaves and
think about
stuff.
it. They say don't tell a fib. Fibonacci.
Fibonacci, yeah, right.
What the
And
hell?
so yeah, so when you got we're kind of focusing in on the phi ratio, and then that picture Paul just showed, it shows that's the graph of it as a spiral. It's Fibonacci spiral, and then you see the first big, and all these little squares too are in proportion to the 1.6 ratio side to length to width, right?
Yep.
And even like a lot of stationary, like standard paper sizes are based on those rectangles.
Mm-hmm.
That first part of the big part of the spiral is the golden arch. You look in architecture, you'll see that arch might be a little bit more upright, but it's the same curve, and that's one of the strongest
Mm-hmm.
um, engineering shapes, geometrical engineering shapes that there is. That's why you'll see, and sometimes you see it doubled, one side reflection of the other. You see that in ancient bridges. You see that in ancient cathedrals. What do they call that again on the sides of the big center tower? And then you have those two arches, and that gives it
Uh,
all the structure from it doesn't blow over. You know, all this stuff was used in ancient architecture and engineering and art and everything really. And it appears in nature. I mean, you see the shell there. That's the look. It's the exact same curve, right?
yep.
This is no accident. This is why these numbers, these numbers and shapes and music and everything that goes with it is seen as divine, really,
Indeed.
and it permeates everywhere. Like I say, there's not really that many patterns. There's not really
No.
that many when you get
Yeah,
into it.
true.
There's only five.
Yep.
There's only five platonic solids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's only so many, and those are kind of like, I guess, the masculine straight line shapes, but like also the curvy shapes and ovals and circles and that, like there's not that many of those either. Like there's not a whole lot that are the basic building blocks of life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why. Should I go into this now? No, let's get to the geometry for that. So when you look at the numbers, you'll see, if you look at if you look up Fibonacci numbers, I just did this a minute ago. Whoops. So it'll bring up a sequence of numbers: 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144. That was one of the ones that I really wanted to. Okay, so that's a significant one. 144 is very significant in the Hebrew Bible. 144 is everything. The 144. I mean, if you look up the significance of 144 in the Bible, right? There's something to that. So 144 in the Bible, like there's so many references. And of course, 7 is everywhere. 144, like if you look up 144 Bible meaning, divine completeness, and it's 144,000, right? 12 by 12, 12 times 12.
Okay,
The totality,
144,000.
the whole totality of God's people, it says.
CRISPR did
12
a
apostles.
the CRISPR did a count on unvaccinated people. They first did the complete sequence of the salamander, which can replace its arms and its legs if they get cut off. So they gave that information to CRISPR before the mRNA technology, but they counted in our genome 144,000 parts
Yeah.
of the unvaccinated.
144 and 100 and 1440 and 144,000 in
Isn't
those
that great?
combinations they're everywhere too.
It's
And
crazy,
it's crazy. And then a lot of things too are counted in duality. So for example,
right?
when we count, I mean, you see 33 has a lot of significance too, because there's 33 vertebrae in our spine. Jesus was 33.
I know
33
it's
degrees of
incredible.
Freemasonry. There's all kinds of 33, 3
The
plus 3 and
mind,
all that. Three sixes and nines, baby, right?
the depth of
So
the mind control was genius. It was simply
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. So I'm gonna get back to one of these numbers when we get back to me when we get to music. But the 144 also links uh arithmetic to music because there's always you can always think of it as a trinity, right? You can always think of it as times three because there's spiritual realm, mental realm, and physical realm. It's just like 777. When you look at the major arcana of tarot, there's actually there's 22 cards and 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. There's 22 comes up a lot. There's 20 and multiples 22. And but so there's 22 cards, but there's only 21 steps on the path. There's numbers. The first card's number 0, and that's the fool, and that's you. That's the initiate. That's the initiate walking the path. Well, walking the path. The magician is card number 1, by the way. So, so anyways, but so there's 21. So when you divide that by 3, there's 7. There's actually 7, 3 sets of 7, and the 7. So there's 7 cards are the spiritual plane. 7 cards are the mental plane, and 7 cards are the what did I already say? Physical, spiritual, mental, and physical. 333 or 777. So that's where you get lucky 7, and all kinds of other lucky stuff comes out of these numbers. But so if you think of 144 on all 3 planes and times it by 3, you get 432. That's where you get what they say is mainly the music of the living planet is 432 hertz, which is the diatonic scale, and then all kinds of interesting numbers come from that. So there's a couple of links to the arithmetic and in music, but that's probably one of the more significant ones. So then, if you look at the so where are we at? So sacred geometry. Is there anything we want to say about numbers? It's all fascinating stuff. But then the numbers, as you plot them and as you draw, it comes. There's the geometry comes out of it. 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional geometry. You see the flower of life. You see Metatron's cube. You see, the Star of David, the Merkaba. There's all kinds of things that come with the geometry. You see the feminine round, curvy stuff, the masculine more straight line stuff, the plutonic solids, that make up basically that's all the basic geometric shapes that make up the whole universe. And then then you got your round ones and your plays on circles, and then both of them together. Like a big symbol of alchemy is square in the circle, because the circle and the square are again the representation of the masculine and the feminine energy. And it's the same sort of it's the same sort of idea that's applied when you're doing art with like if you're doing two-dimensional geometries based on geometrical art based on these numbers. There's a really good guy. His name is Charles Gilchrist, and I watched his whole course, but it's called Sacred Geometry 101. But I'm
Okay.
actually going to do it soon. So, because it's my thing, because I'm a draftsman, so and a designer, so and builder.
Yep.
But so I'm when I draw, I like to draw with tools because drafting, right? So, and I suck at doing freehand circles, and basically generally suck at freehand. So, I like to use the tools. But this guy has a whole course where
Mhm.
he's teaching right from the dot to the segment to the circle to that, and he draws it right up to Metatron's cube. And as he's doing it, he's explaining how the universe was created. And
Mm.
because we're like one of the most primordial symbols we have is the dot with the circle around it, right? That was a
Yep.
representation of the sun. That's very, very that's one of the very basic ones, right? And that's kind of how the beginning of drawing the Vesica Pisces, and it turns into the Trinity and the germ of life and the seed of life and there's a flower of life, and then you draw the straight lines through it, it turns into Metatron's cubes. There's so much in there. There's the Star of David, the Merkaba. Like there's so much in there. A Merkaba is basically just like two prisms piercing each other, which is a Platonic solid, which is one of the Platonic solids. It's basically a four-sided triangle. So actually, we should probably you could bring stuff up if well. The Plutonic solids would be a good thing to talk about for or for the geometry part of it, because and
Mhm.
that's very significant. So when you hear one of the basic geometrical structures for like the building of our planet is the cube. That's the most predominant nature is the cube, right? Salt of the earth. That's where that comes from, because salt is a cube. And not only that, there's all kinds of symbolism here with the cube. How many sides does a cube have? Six, right? There's six sides to a cube. Just keep that in mind. Um, how many big three religions are there on the Hebrew Bible? Well, I just said it, three. Right, right. There's yeah, there's there's Jewish comes out of it, Judaism comes out of it, Christianity comes out of it, Islam comes out of it.
Yep.
So when you think about it, when you look at the Star of David and the center of it, that's a three. When if you draw that out and you connect the points, it's a cube inside of the Star of David. It's
Okay,
a
you
cube.
said Star of
It's a
David.
it's a hypercube. Am I saying that wrong?
No, no, there is no such thing as
It's
Star of David.
it's basically that's also another symbol of the masculine feminine energy, because in geometry, it's an upside down triangle is the feminine, because that represents the Ani,
Well, it's a
and
star of.
or the cervix basically, isn't
Well,
it?
I'm
Isn't
just
that
saying
right?
the Israeli Star of David is actually the Star of Remphan. That's all. Upside down, it's the Baphomet symbol. Uh, eh, on a
Hmm.
psychological level, this is what they're doing. They usurped the
Right.
Star of Remphan and
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
attached Judaism to it, but it doesn't belong together. There's no Star of David. Um,
Right.
but
But if you take a cube and kind of look at put the point out, and you look at it, it's the kind of the inside of that shape, that geometrical shape makes that
yeah.
cube. There's a in Fibonacci's in Metatron's cube. That's why it's called Metatron's cube. There's a cube in the middle.
Hmm.
The star that symbol. What do you what? How do you refer to that symbol? It's the masculine feminine overlapping, right?
Hmm.
Because
Well, that's
second
a
backwards.
platonic solid that in the picture.
Yeah. That there is, I think that's the feminine, because That's the cervix or the yoni or that, and then that one's known as the masculine. That them symbols also come up in the basic elements too, like when you think of earth, air, fire, water, right?
Hmm.
Triangles.
Yep.
But so the cube is in there. The cube. Where does Islam Muslims go to worship? They go to a big cube. What's the cross geometrically? The cross in the right proportion, and you go back far enough and look into it, is a cube unfolded. So they all have cube symbolism, and the reason why they have cube symbolism and geometries of a cube is because a cube is the most abundant geometrical shape on the planet. So when you think of salt of people are salt of the earth. He's a real salt of the earth person. It's just a grounded, a humble, common person that's thought of as the salt of the earth, and that's kind of where that comes from, right? Because cube is the most plentiful, and also what else I was going to say about that? The number six. So in those three factions of the Hebrew Bible, in six sides of the cube, 666. The cube is the representation, is the main representation of the physical realm, of the built, of physical existence on at least on the planet, because it's the most fundamental. It's the most fundamental geometrical shape of you think of salt, you think of sugar, you think of like it's cubes, right? So, and the 666 also, what's 666 on the periodic table of elements? Six is carbon. What's the most abundant solid flight? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
What's the most abundant solid um, element off the periodic table? We're all carbon based. It's mainly carbon. So 666 also, it doesn't mean it's totally, it's like it's satanic. It can have, everything has its good interpretation and bad interpretation or whatever. That's a good one to keep up there because we can talk about other ones. But yeah, so 666 is in like way back when is referring to the carbon atom and referring to the cube too, because it's six-sided. There's six protons, six neutrons, six electrons, and that's what makes up the physical world on the planet. So that's why, and sometimes you see in reference that it's satanic, because Satanists are all about the physical realm,
Right. Yep.
right? And that's their domain. That's what they're looking to rule over. That's what they're looking to control. That's what they're looking to dominate. That's what they're looking to replace with their synthetic virtual reality imitations, because they think they can do better than the real thing. That's the thing. They don't care if all the bees die because they got their drone bees and they think they're better. This is serious stuff, and this is no joke. It like if my brother was walking through, I think it was the Toronto airport, and there's really crazy stuff symbolism in airports, and there was a mechanical bee. It was basically said, don't worry about the bees dying. We got these guys,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Flying syringes and the flying syringe mosquitoes, like this mechanical animal, mechanical nature thing is getting like pretty creepy. And it does fall when we talk about Satanism. There's links. So basically, what they're saying is the 666 is the physical world, especially just let's think about the Earth itself. That's what they want to dominate. That's what they want to own. That's what they want to exploit. And then all the people in it, they want either eliminated or enslaved. I mean, think about how they talk about us hackable animals, useless eaters, this and that, right? It's a very, I mean, who can even think like that, man? Like useless eater, like this is a person who's a spark of the divine. This is God's child, you know. That's
Yep.
really demented. But the thing is, they're atheists.
It is
That's what
cemented.
people
Yeah.
think. Oh, they believe in this stuff,
Yep.
but they only use the term Satan as a word to describe themselves as the adversary.
Yeah, and
Really,
it is.
it's not. It has nothing to do with them. It doesn't mean believe. That doesn't mean they believe in God because they took a word that might appear in the Bible.
Well, that's the thing is that Satan is an adverb. It's describing a noun. It's a descriptive. It means the adversary, like the district attorney.
Adversary.
District attorney is your adversary in the courtroom. It's that is descriptive of a
Speaking about
role, right? And Lucifer is also a descriptive, like an adverb, where it describes uh, someone who has light within them.
do we want to go?
And
Do we want to go down that roll call?
yeah, of
I'm
course we do.
a
Like the
Gnostic.
the
I'm a Gnostic
firefly. The
today.
firefly is a good example where uh, I have a bad habit of getting close to my mic, but like a firefly is a perfect example of the light within us. And the firefly is a perfect example because it seems so inconsequential to life.
Yeah. Oh, I love fireflies. Fireflies are just one of those things.
But
You just like,
it shows us,
man.
doesn't
You observe it, and that's one of the things that just make me marvel at nature. Another thing is too is
yes.
a bee. I don't think they have. I don't. Science still hasn't figured out how a bee can fly. I don't think.
But the firefly
It's almost like
goes
it's scientifically impossible that a
bright,
bee can
it
fly. And
goes
somehow this,
bright to dark,
yeah,
bright to dark,
I think it has.
like in waves.
Yeah,
It's waves.
that's
It
right.
shows
Right,
all of it
rhythm,
right in our face. But it's
rhythm.
the only
Yeah,
example
yes.
we have because you can't see my light, but it's there.
Do you know what
Trust
else is
me.
really cool? Is bioluminescence fascinates me too. I've seen it in Nova Scotia, but I can't wait to see it down like in warmer waters down south.
Hmm.
And when it's really dark and it's like really brilliant, you know. There's so many things that fascinate me about nature, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to light.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know
Firefly,
why.
Firefly is educational,
But,
and they used it
yeah.
in the mRNA. That's what they tried to hide
Is that
because
right?
of the
What
because of
emergency? Yeah.
the biblical implications of a living light being injected into a body with a living light from a jealous God who will not share us.
Yeah, well, I mean, it can be thought about in all kinds of different ways. Like,
And the candle from them ascended forever and ever. The light shine no more in thee. See, it was all there. It's right there. It's like jumping out on the pages right into my face because my faith is so powerful and so strong. And I know we're at least at the beginning of the end. The end is coming, and it's a great ending. It's like a great movie, like 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 Terminator.
Armageddon. Well, the thing is, what Armageddon is like, Armageddon, everybody's like, oh no, Armageddon, I mean,
Yep,
destroy. But actually, I think Armageddon, when you look it up, actually means like it actually means you know,
lifting of the veil.
an end to the old
Yep.
era and the beginning of a new era, right?
Yeah, I love that. I hope I can survive through that, but it doesn't matter because if I don't, I'm coming back anyway. All the children they took from me are coming back to me. You know how great that is? I lost a lot of children, and it gave me the place where I am today. It gave me the heart that I have today. and I want to stand in righteousness. I want to obey the Ten Commandments, and I
Well,
want to love my fellow man, whether they're sinners or not. They're all sinners. So we have to accept that and love our neighbor as we love ourselves.
and the thing is,
Until
people have gone through a lot of hardship in their lives. Are a lot of times the ones that have like a lot of character and and know themselves. Because I know I've been through a lot in my life, and there were certain points where I had it was live or die, man. Like I gotta get onto something to pull me out of this situation. And it was always it was always I feel like a big step in my growth that I had to read a self-help book. So
right,
just to
sure,
try and change my thoughts. But and you have these, and you read books like, or you hear about people like Eckhart Tolle and The Power of Now and A New Earth. I thought was a really good one, and how they always seem to have the same story. A lot of people that like he tried to commit suicide, or no, he was contemplating it. He was contemplating it,
oh, okay,
and but then somebody, and you hear these stories from people who jump off bridges and survive and stuff with the intention of killing themselves. But then there's
yeah,
this is where they recognize that there's some this is where they recognize there's a true self in there, right? Because they recognize it's like something's telling me through a feeling or whatever that is telling me I shouldn't do this, or I'm contemplating it. Who am I contemplating this with? And then
yeah,
somehow they get to a way where they know there's something deeper behind the thoughts. They start getting like, okay, wait a minute now. I'm more than my thoughts here, right? And
yep,
in my practice, when I went through the path of the warrior with Shambhala Buddhism, um, one of the big things I got out of that was basically the practice, the meditation practice, and focusing on the breath and all that. But one of the teachers had mentioned, one of the meditation instructors have mentioned it, is that when you start like noticing your thoughts, and you start like slowing your thoughts down, and just seeing how they're like, just noticing how they're processed, and how you might go into a fantasy, or a song pops into your head, or whatever happens. But just focus on the thoughts, and then trying to get it to like more of a point focus, where you're really slowing the thoughts down and things like that. But you start doing what this meditation instructor said, was watching the thinker. That there's this
yeah,
like a deeper self that
right,
can watch the thinker. So then, if your mind starts to wander, you're like, then
mm.
it's like, hey, wait a minute. Are these my thoughts? I mean, I guess there's maybe no original thoughts, but like,
Well, you
could
know what I
somebody have
think
put
right
that?
now?
Could somebody have put that thought there?
You know what I think right now? I think we're like a
Uh,
three hour, 3-part
are we,
series kind of
oh
thing.
no, are we getting deep? Are we getting late again? What time is it? Okay, yeah, let's.
No, 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 no. There's no constraint. I'm just I'm just playing with you, but I'm just saying
Okay.
that I
Yeah,
see a
no,
third
no,
part series, part three
this is good.
coming up and
Oh,
coming.
yeah, yeah.
Not
Well,
on
it's
Facebook
interesting
though.
stuff.
No way.
No,
No.
no. So
You
I
know
think we
which?
said enough probably about sacred geometry.
No, I
All the
think
all
I
you know
think
like the
it's good.
pyramids, and you look at all the ancient architecture, like there's
Yes,
those geometries.
yes.
And,
It
and Da
is
Vinci did a lot of that
astounding.
too. Like he did a lot of like basic like geometry stuff too,
Yeah.
not all portraits and stuff.
But the
Um,
archaeological evidence that we have, the amazing architecture, shows that what we had was taken away. And
yes,
what I know, what I feel, from my gut, is that that is going to be restored. And I hope I can get that to there, to that point. Because I would love to see, children being safe again and adults
Oh,
working
well,
together
good.
again
Yeah.
and enhancing each other, like iron sharpening iron, like you and I
Well,
tonight.
if we can't protect the children, who are we? And this is what makes me so disappointed in Canada, you know. It's so this is what
It
like
is.
it rips
No,
my heart out. You know, they did
indeed.
because they did a national citizens inquiry on COVID-19 and the handling of that. Then they did one, I think it was maybe two or three seminars or gatherings. And it was, are children safe in Canada? And the answer is no. As a matter of fact, they're being preyed upon in a big way, and they
Yep.
need to be protected. They need to be
Yes,
protected. So I'm stepping up as a divine masculine warrior to
indeed.
protect.
Yes, brother.
And you know, that's my mission in Canada. This doesn't go on this like this doesn't go on to this
Yeah.
degree in other countries, by the way. This is why I'm
Yeah.
going to El Salvador.
And of course we want to stand in righteousness while we do it. We don't want to harm, we don't want to injure, we want to restore.
Yes.
We want to protect.
I mean, how did we get to a point where with the gender thing, you know,
Yeah.
like people think that we're just terrible because we're against, like somehow we're against LGBTQ, or
No, we're not against cross
we're
dressing.
against gender what do you call it,
Yeah, I know. The gender
like
pronoun
gender
is all
dysphoria and
Zionist,
stuff like that. And but it's
Bolsheviks,
not that. It's not that really.
Khazarian.
It's just that you can't have it so that the first salute that like just that the first solution now is to start lopping off body parts
Yeah.
before you
No,
even do a psychological
no.
evaluation, you
Yeah,
know,
because,
and you have there's no
yeah,
informed consent is out the window in Canada.
yeah,
Um, a proper risk benefit analysis is out the window in Canada. You can't do that as a doctor in BC, where you're going to go to jail, get a $500,000 fine. You're gonna be more than just canceled. They're going to
yeah.
destroy you if you talk bad about me, gender affirming care, mRNA injections,
And
and
teachers,
what was the other one?
teachers with
It's
green
like
hair.
four things. There's four things, and
Yeah,
you cannot even point
yeah.
out
It's
you can't even point out the side effects or the harms
and
of any of it.
it is a
Like what the
war.
hell?
It's war. It is a tactical war
That's
situation,
Bill C-36.
but it's a spiritual war because it really is a war against, fundamental creation values
And the
to
first
protect.
doctor that pointed out, yeah, and the first doctor that pointed out harms, and children included. I mean, don't even, oh man, I'll start crying if I tell about young
No,
children,
we can
children in
do it, brother.
sports
We can
that
do
were
it.
forced into it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I don't like
and then, you
crying.
know,
I don't like crying
and then
live, and I've done it,
and,
and I hate that I did it, but I couldn't help it, and I don't want to make you cry, and
well,
I
I don't want
am
to go down.
trying. I
I
will
don't want to
not
go too
cry.
deep down that rabbit hole. I don't want to go too deep
It
down
is
that rabbit
very
hole.
sad. It's very
I'll lose
sad
my.
what's happened. Tomorrow's show is going to be very sad because a witness, of
Uh,
the Gaza children
uh,
being shot in the head, and
uh,
it's going to be
some of the
difficult.
stories I've heard about over there, it's so evil, man.
But
It's
our
so evil.
show tonight is about empowering you,
Yeah,
under,
music. Let's talk
understand,
about music.
understanding yourself, understanding your beauty, that you really are
The
beautiful.
diatonic scale.
Yeah, I mean,
How about the diatonic scale of music?
but even I'm beautiful.
You're a
Like
beautiful man.
I had to buy a scale, like a mirror from a circus, but in that mirror, I look beautiful.
Stop it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the diatonic scale of music. So that's one of the good ones. That's the connection I just told you about between 144 times three is
Right.
432. 432 hertz scale is a diatonic scale. You look at the numbers in that scale, and they pretty much blow your mind, at least if
Mm,
you're a numbers guy.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I think I took a picture of it. And you see, wait a second. I told you I'm not very good at pushing buttons. Oh yeah, here it is here. So this here is A equals 432 hertz, and there's overtones and the root overtones, and there's 1 to 15, and the numbers are 72, 108, 144, 180, 216, 252, 288, 324, 360, 396, 432, 468, 504, 540, 576. Now just we don't want to go to all of them, but just the significance of these numbers. I mean, look up if you looked up what's the significance of numbers of 72 in the Bible. 72, there's all kinds of, I mean, I've even heard it said that there's 72, I don't know. Is it names of God? Is that even, I don't know why that pops in my head. But anyways, there's if you look up the biblical meaning of the significance of 72 in the Bible, there's a lot there.
It is names of God.
108 names of God, and yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot of
Yes.
significance of 72 in the Hebrew Bible. In 108, now 108 can be thought of as the one, infinite. The other really the other really interesting thing about all the numbers in these 15 root overtones of the diatonic scale is when you do the gematria on them, they all break down to 9.
Mm,
So, gematria as in you break the number down to a single digit, just as an integer. So
yeah.
7 plus 2 is 9. 1 plus 0 plus 8 is 9. 4 plus 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. 1 plus 8 is 9. Like they're all 9. And the other interesting thing I found too is if you look at the ages in Hinduism, the yugas, all the yugas,
Mm-hmm.
those huge numbers, they all break down to 9.
Mm.
Nine's also the number of Satanism, by the way. At least the Anton LaVey sect. 72 names of God. Yeah. I think there's other 72 significance to 72 as well. 108's a big one in Eastern philosophy and Buddhism and Hinduism and Taoism. There's 108 beads on your mala. So when I said look up the significance of 108, I mean, I'll do it right quick because that's a good one. So he's looking up the significance of 72. Well, if you look up the significance of the number 108, it's just like, wow, like there's all kinds there. Or there's 108 number, 9 times 12. So on my mala, I did it kind of like alchemy one. I did 12 sets of 9 because I'm into the nines, and that gives me these spacers are kind of like the alchemical or the alchemy metals, and there's 13 of them. 13. We can go on for days with that, and yeah, and the Celtic Trinity. So it was kind of alchemy mala, but there's 108 beads on them. So when you do 108 significance of 108, there's so much there. So they say that there's 108 energy nodes that we can work with in our bodies. They say there's more than that, but there's 108 we can work with. And so when I was talking about clearing up these energy centers so the Taurus is going through us, we're the really efficient as we can be transmitters and receivers of the energy, because really we're just bioelectronic machines processing electronic waves, electric. It's all electric, man. Walter Russell. So, yeah. So 108 supreme, yeah, supreme truth, infinity, yeah, infinity. 108 points, sacred points in the body. So here's what's really interesting. When this is kind of merges Western and Eastern and Eastern philosophy with the Hebrew Bible and Christianity and stuff, count the beads on your rosary. There's 52. And the reason being is because the Eastern traditions are counting both the masculine and feminine aspects of the energy center. So they're counting uh you know positive. They're counting one positive, one negative, two, you know what I mean? Whereas in the Hebrew, the big three based, with the came up with the rosary, are just counting the. So you could think of even think of the snake's coiling, right? The Kundalini,
Yep.
masculine and feminine, not
Yep.
necessarily good and evil, but masculine, feminine energies
Right.
coiling, right? The Eastern goes 2, 4, 6, 8, but the Western goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why you get 108 beads on a mala and
Yep.
54 on a rosary.
Yep. And that's why divorced men say good and evil instead of masculine and feminine.
Well, so and there's reason, and so we're the reason why we're so you can see points in history where we were very intentionally thrown out of balance by and
Yes.
create this left-brained,
Yep.
imbalanced, psychotic
Yep.
society that's the
Yes.
patriarchy. And you can see that even when the Gregorian calendar came in,
Yep.
and the months went from 13 to 12. It used to be based on the feminine reproductive cycle, and the physical realm is the female's domain, because all human life comes through that vessel of the feminine vessel, right? The feminine's most responsible for the manifestation of human life, because it's coming through her body. So you so
Right.
so it's a lot of times, I mean, it can be thought of different ways, but like, generally speaking, the feminine is the embodiment. The feminine is the best representation of the physical body, because of that reason. So even if you say, "Oh, well, the moon's feminine or the sun's feminine or whatever,"
It
it
was
really
also
is.
the destruction of the patriarchy, like letting them vote because they're compassionate, so they will allow this uh, coddling of the weaponization of alternative gendering.
Yeah, I know.
So they
It's
they are actually the vehicle that was used with the voting. So this is a plan that
oh
goes
yeah, yeah,
far
yeah.
back, and we're uncovering
And
it. The truth is coming out.
a lot of it had to do with, like, the state taking over raising the children. That's a big thing too, right? Like, that was
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
so every movement gets hijacked by these psychopaths. So
Yep,
the organic feminist movement got hijacked,
yep.
and they steered it in their own direction for their own egoic gain, as usual, to control. And a couple of the big things were like removing the mother from the household. It's breaking down the traditional family, right? And taking control over being able to mind control their kids. And now you're seeing the opposite happen, and everybody's taking their kids out of school and homeschooling them, which I think is a great thing. But I don't think homeschooling is really the way. I mean, you can. I think if we put our minds together it's on a community basis, we can just pull them out of school. Just Monday, say, okay, no more, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll find venues. We'll find
Right.
teachers that want to
Sure we
teach
will.
holistically and don't want to indoctrinate. They already exist.
Yep.
We can. There's so much we can do. We just got to step into our power and be empowered
Yep.
to do it. We can
Yeah.
make that decision and make it happen next week.
Like
It
my
doesn't have
actually
to be this
speaking
way.
of
Just
this week,
don't comply. Don't
Wednesday.
conform. Don't comply. Pull
Yeah,
them
but
out. If you
this.
don't like what's going on in the public school system, pull them out.
Yeah, and in
If you don't, if you
homeschool.
don't, if you don't have time to homeschool, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
There's teachers who left because of this.
Yeah.
There's community space and buildings and stuff that would be sympathetic to the
But
cause and donate their
there
space to set up a classroom.
there is
There's
technologies.
alternatives that can come next week.
We have
You don't
smart
have to do
people.
this.
We have good people that can solve all these problems. Wednesday, Shane Wolf has, created a house that's sustainable, doesn't pollute, is
That's right up
safe.
my alley.
You know what I mean? This is
uh,
what's been stopped over time, and it's not going to be stopped anymore because lifting the veil is empowering every one of us. And it's
free
just to
energy.
find your mission and stand in righteousness. We are not pure enough to pass judgment on each other. Okay? We can't do that. We have to right the wrongs, restore, and find passage to correction together, humanely, as though God was right beside us. I mean, would ask yourself, would I do this if God was right beside me? You know, even though He won't do anything, would He agree with my decision, my approach?
With the Gnostic creation myth and the part of that story, it explains the icons and what they're doing and stuff, and how they're creating this synthetic virtual reality world. But the period that they say we're going through right now is referred to as Sophia's correction, because that's one name for the living planet is so Gaia Sophia. So when I practice planetary tantra, it's also known as Gaian shamanism. And so, anyways, 108, there's 108 Upanishads, there's 108. The Earth to the Sun is approximately 108 times the Sun's diameter. Like there's all these correlations with 108, and then you get to 144, and 144 that's 12 times 12. That's everywhere in the Bible. We already talked about that. That's probably and then that's the music, so you can put the music to, so when you're listening to music in the diatonic scale in 432, it's you're hitting all these significant numbers that are that the ones that repeat, the patterns that repeat so much in our natural world. So it's a you can listen to the diatonic scale. She would, there's more connection. You can be open up and connect by listening to that. Maybe subconscious programming to be more connected to nature and Pachamama. So then astronomy's so music's numbers in time, astronomy's numbers in space time, and the movement of the heavenly bodies. They're like, I don't know why everybody gets all freaked out about talking about the holy books. That part of it is describing the movement of the planets and the stars and the astrotheological meanings of even Jesus, and people go, oh, it's just one God. Don't you know what I mean? But it's not about that. Like, because the one is all in all of its
Mhm.
10,000 parts, as it says in the Tao Te Ching. Like it's okay. It's okay. We realize it's all. You don't have to get all freaked out about that, about using the symbolism in that way. You know, I mean, Venus is seen as the god, as love. The god is the. Venus is a goddess of love. Venus does its pattern there. It's a five. It's basically a five petaled rose, which is the what's is it hibiscus? No, it's actually a First Nations medicine in Nova Scotia, anyways. But is that one? Is that the one that it has five? It's a five petaled rose. But anyways, the Rosicrucian symbolism is 5-pointed rose, 5 5 5 with five. It was five. No, I think it's five on the top and five underneath, and then there's five green petals, but it's a 5 5 5 symbol. And so, I mean, astronomy is pretty straightforward. Sun, moon, how it all works together. I don't think we have to get too much into that, but the light and the moon. I mean, the sun is the light, and the moon's usually depicted as feminine energy and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And
And there's
the
certainly,
phases of the moon and 13, and there's a lot of correlation. And there's a lot to
yeah,
know, and there's
Enoch.
a lot that affects to what. Oh, well, of course, these our solar system affects what goes on the planet, obviously, especially the sun. But so does
Hmm.
the moon. I mean, the tides, right? And movements of movements of the other planets, other things that come in and out of our solar system have an effect on us with gravitational pull, and
Yeah,
uh,
Book of Enoch.
massive maybe rogue asteroids, and the Book of Enoch, and the Anunnaki, what is it, Tiamat,
No, that's
and
the Sumerian
some planet
tablets.
that
No,
and the
there's,
planet that existed between, I think it was Tiamat that existed between Mars and
yeah,
Jupiter, and
yeah,
now the asteroid belt that got destroyed.
yeah. I don't believe it.
Um,
I don't believe
I
any
don't
of
know.
that.
I take it all with a grain of
But
salt, anyways.
you
I'm
know
not,
what?
the
Let
Anunnaki
me
and
say
Zacharias
though,
missions work. Nah,
yeah, but look, I don't put my eggs in every basket. I
nah.
just don't do it. I want to hear what you have to say, and I'm gonna quote you. So
To
be
me, it's all
honest.
possibilities,
So,
right?
what I found out is they all lied and they all told the truth. They segment truth and lie together in order to sustain the truth and hide the truth. They did that in the
Yes.
Bible, the Quran, the
And this
Gita.
is how, this is,
I didn't find it. Sumerian
yeah.
tablets, yes, yes. There's lies in there, absolutely, because they're talking about planets. No, water. There's no planets. Now we're living in water. We're born in water, from water. God is water. God is. That's
Well,
why we're surrounded. That's how you're. There's water in the air. This is how God is omnipresent through
and it's
water.
alive. It's alive,
It
Paul. It's all
it,
alive.
it
It's
it's
alive.
all
It's
life. It's
alive.
all
It
life
has
giving,
life.
and the earth
Oh,
is a feminine and a living. Otherwise, life wouldn't spawn from her.
yeah. So, when you look at was it Dr. Emoto's work there, where he's flash freezing water when he's putting his, he's speaking to the water and putting his intent, and then flash freezes the water, and you
Yep.
see how it, when he's saying all loving and encouraging things, it's a beautiful pattern and all this, and
Yep.
somatics too, like that comes into this when you do when you do the somatics, like Paul was talking about last time, with like sugar on a speaker, on a plate that's on a speaker or whatever. When you hit these, especially like in the diatonic scale or the 528 hertz solfeggio scales, and that's like the 528's the heart chakra vibe. So that's kind of the heart,
Yep.
the music of the heart. That's Dr. Leonard Horowitz has a whole. The guy I was telling you about, the like the physics behind Genesis. He has a whole program where he has 528 radio, which is the heart chakra radio, and it's all the genres. And this guy's brilliant, man. You can go on there and listen to 528 music, and all. It's great. His work is great. So fear, that's the main way. That's a big way they control us, right? So
Yeah.
the four primal fear is fear of the dark, fear of predators, fear of abandonment, fear of chaos. And then you think about, well, what if I die? What about fear of death? What about fear of this and that? Well, if you'll notice that all the other fears that you talk about are usually combinations of these. So, you say, well, I fear death. It's, well, all of these could come with death, right?
Right.
In
Right.
somebody's mind of what they think death is. Could be a fear of, oh, it's going to get dark. Oh, there could be uh, demons, predators. There could
Yeah.
be, my family would be abandoned. I'll be abandoned in this life. It could be chaotic. You know what I mean? Like that. So, and all different forms of fear that we think are maybe more complex in this is actually a combination of these, and they play on these very distinctly. Especially, I mean, there's predators among us, you know, and a lot of that's coming out now. We're starting to realize that there's a predatory class that's very that's yeah, isn't that cool? A predatory class that's very, and you see it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sided.
Yeah.
Hex.
But just loving,
It's
sending love, like
isn't that amazing?
initiating love, initiating love to this water.
Yeah. Well, and
I
that's,
love
pray to your
you.
water. Pray to your water, because
It's
your
that
water is
simple.
alive, and your water does hold energy. There's all kinds of different things you can do with water too. One of the basic,
The
I guess
will.
herbal alchemy. It'd be, I
Yep.
don't know, it'd be herbal alchemy or metal alchemy, but I guess it'd be more herbal alchemy is a breakdown of water, like how you
Do
can break
as
down
thou
water,
will.
separate the salts and stuff like that. So that's all
Do
part of
as
alchemy
thou
too, right?
will. It's all about
Yeah,
will. It begins at will.
really. I call my son Willie.
Willpower. Willpower to love.
Willpower. So
To
yeah, you
love
see
each
how all these
other.
are played on. And dark is one thing I want to say about dark too, is we need to be really careful, especially with our out of balance with the divine feminine,
Yep.
is that that's the divine feminine aspect is the darkness, and there's really no need to fear it. I love the dark. I always have. And the stars come out, the moons come out. Going down to my cottage and just going to sleep and it's pitch black. I loved it, and not afraid to be out in the woods in the dark either. Not at all. Um, there's some advantages being dark. You can hide from things. But this using darkness as a metaphor for evil, I think, is problematic,
Right.
because
Yes.
darkness or blackness, I think I'm trying not to do that anymore, because I think it's because that's kind of like the feminine side of it, that like we should try not to equate that to evil. I mean, as much as it makes sense, like the absence of light and stuff like that, it's
Yep. Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know. I'm just trying to start call things evil or good instead
Yeah.
of using that. I think it, like, subconsciously, I think that's not a good. It's not good, I don't think.
No,
And
I think we have to. Yes, and
I'm
and that's
trying
what we,
not to. I still do it, but I'm trying not to do it.
it's
I don't call it the dark occult anymore. I call
it's
it the evil
important.
occult.
It's important they bring it up though because
Occultists.
it is something we all have to face. Is that loving our neighbor as we love ourselves? That's a really good teaching because we're all divine. We all have that light inside of us. And like even the firefly, but even the worst of us. So we do to the worst of us, we do to the best of us. So what we have to do is eliminate the worst of us and segregate them, not kill them, but just keep them away from the good people. This is how and why the Wall of China happened. That Carney loved so much. They were segregated from the rest of the world. So
Well,
let
that's what
this
building these private communities is all
that's the
about. Is
Moab,
is
the
it's
Moab
good to
tribe.
have a private membership club.
Yeah,
You have to sign a contract to get in, and if
yeah,
you
yep.
can discriminate. You're allowed to discriminate if you have a private membership club,
Exactly.
and you
Yes.
can all agree on the rules. And that means, if, like, a lot of
Yeah.
businesses took on that model across the United States, in all kinds of different types
Yep.
of businesses took on that model because,
Yep.
and then their customers just became members of the club, of the buyers club. And then
And
if
just
they all agree they
imagine.
don't have to wear masks when they're grocery shopping, then there's
Yeah.
nothing anybody can do about it.
But imagine as a group of friends just hanging out together, 10 people, and there's one person that just ruins the party every time. If you segregate that person out of that group, the entire group can be empowered, enhance, grow naturally, and become what it was intended to be.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
just wise
And
wisdom.
so chaos, so these are played upon, and what they do is they make up there's false flag events. They make up all kinds of bull crap stories
Yep.
that aren't true
Yep.
to make you so you'll be all anxious and scared, and it's not even real. It's not even real.
Yep.
It's some bullshit story they told you. It's not real. And the science, if you go into the science, you apply all this to it, you'll find out real quick that it's not real. It's all fake, man. It's all fake. And they got you scared to death about it. And this one here, chaos, this is the one they tagged to anarchy because it's going to be chaotic if it says if you're. But all it means
Yeah.
is no rulers, no masters, no slaves. So do you believe in
Yeah.
slavery or do you want to abolish slavery? And the economic system that is based on is volunteerism. Means you can't steal from people. Uh, and uh, and chaos. Why? Because there'll just be no. It doesn't mean no rules. There's natural law, and there's also got to be statutes to make sure that you're not, gonna unintentionally harm somebody too. So, like for example, like yeah, like you gotta there's got to be order in the society where you can't drive down a city street at 100 miles an hour, of course, because chances are you're gonna run people over and kill them. So
Okay,
that can't
Rob.
be allowed,
Okay, Rob.
obviously.
My question is, can I end my subscription
To
to the government? To
Yes,
that
you can actually. Well, you can
government.
sort of.
Can I? I want to end my subscription to being, having the youngest of us being violated of their sacred
Well,
bodily
it's a scam.
autonomy. Their sacred
It's another
bodily
scam.
autonomy is telling us right from day one that your child needs help on a chemical scale, and
Yeah,
we have to
and
inject.
now, so they take all the rights away. They take all the power away from the doctors
Yeah.
in BC. They took all the power away from the police because now they need permission to go and investigate crimes. When evidence is brought to them of a crime, they're supposed to be allowed to investigate the crime. That's it. There's evidence for it. They're supposed to be allowed to investigate it, not get permission from some brass. They took all their power away. So are they protecting the people now?
No,
And that really hits home for me because
for sure, man.
I'll start crying if I say if I get
Nah,
into this, but
I
like
know, I know. I'm
but the,
trying. I'm trying. We can do it, man.
because like my sense of morality came from my I had daddy issues, and my with abandonment and everything, and a crazy stepfather and everything, and
Yeah.
it was the old school police
Hmm.
and relatives that worked in that field, that like you didn't want to go for that drive if you did something wrong. That's the last thing. My mother could do whatever, but I did not want to go for that drive. I did not want to go for that drive if I did something wrong. And
Hmm.
and I and you and you know I was pretty much. I feel bad if I did stuff wrong anyway. So I try to, if friends are trying to peer pressure me into stuff, and I'm going to think, listen, do I want to go for that drive? Like, I go, no, see you later. Go ahead, boys. So and then not just the family members, but that picture of the cop with the runaway kid beside him at a restaurant buying him, and I know police that would come out and they come out of Tim Hortons, they buy a coffee for the homeless guy out in the street, outside the and and make sure, and in the paddy wagon they round them up to bring them, not to throw them in the drunk tank. They'll drive them to make sure they have a place to stay warm for the night. They were serving the people and to keep them safe and protected. Like, what happened? What happened? They were my coaches. They were my hockey coaches. They were my mentors. They were my Cub Scout leaders. They were like self-defense leaders.
Mm-hmm.
They played a role in society to protect society and to
Yeah.
people. And now they're so disempowered.
Yeah.
And then when one of them tries to do an investigation because there's evidence, and who stands up? Who is standing up for Helen Bruce?
Oh my
Like,
God. I've
and
been.
and they're told, and
Yeah.
not investigating evidence of what we're bringing evidence to them of all kinds of crazy stuff that happened over COVID. No investigations.
Oh,
Well, but they
and
put it on the shelf. They don't investigate it. They're not
she
allowed.
she
What
had
the hell?
evidence that the kids were being harmed. What the fuck?
If you can't protect your children, especially the police and military, what the hell are you doing? I'll
They
tell you what,
came
get a job
after
over
Helen Bruce.
get a job over here and get paid real
They.
money, and you can do what you signed up for. Because I know only a fraction of them just signed up to be thugs and to bust heads. That's probably 10% at
Yeah.
best. The rest of them signed up to serve and protect people and to keep the streets safe.
Yep.
And how can they be? They must be going crazy right now about, like,
Oh, dude.
violent violent criminals going around stabbing people, and you put them in jail. You risk your life to put them in jail. Then
Yeah.
they're back out on the street to do it again.
Yep.
They must be saying, what the hell? And then they're going to come with Bill C9. They're already doing it before even Bill C9 come out. Oh, you posted something that made somebody feel bad on Facebook, so we're going to have to arrest you.
Yeah, Helen Bruce is a good
Like,
talking point because she found evidence that children were being harmed, and automatically the fucking protection industry should have jumped up like it was a forest fire. But instead,
mhm.
they showed their card and they went after Helen. So they revealed themselves. And for the last 2 years, this is what I've done. I've been revealing them. We're
Where's
right
all the
now.
brethren and sisterin that should have her back and say, you know what? We'll not follow those orders. If there's evidence of a crime, we're investigating it. And if that means you're going to need to fire us, well, you're going to have to fire 75% of the police force.
2
And then
weeks
there's no
from.
choice. They can't fire all of them.
But feel
Anyways,
empowered.
it's
Just try to look for the positive because I have 2 weeks right now to April 5th, and there's a big shift going on, a transitioning out of an old age and of centralized authority. The golden haired leader is not a
yeah, well,
hero. He's not a hero or a villain. He's a catalyst. And so are you. And so am I. We are catalysts because we are transitioning and we can see all the ugliness but we're not here to fall apart over it. We're here to prepare for God's plan. God doesn't lose this fight. So if you stand righteously on your feet all these children that have been lost and slain will return because they're innocent. And God loves them as they love you and Rob and me. Our Creator is trying to let you know without letting you know that it's all going to be okay. And whether it be he or she or they or them, it is what it is. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that. Look at that, 2 hours, Rob.
Well, it's terrible
we're
because
like
I
a
mean,
10 we're like a 10-part series.
uh, I know when you get like, and I'm in a state now where it's like, should I stay here and try to create enlightened society and build a beautiful community with people that want to be all live all in harmony with nature, or
Yes.
am I going to get arrested for using a word correctly out of the dictionary, but someone else
Yeah.
is dictating that that's
Yeah.
not the right way to use it. So therefore, that's hate, and I'm going to get thrown in jail. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah.
And we're gonna let that happen?
We're not, are we?
No,
No.
no. I just hope I can get out of here before I get arrested and thrown
I
in
hear
jail,
that. Yep.
because that law is for us to
Well, we're
put
in
us away,
March.
because they don't
Y-
they don't want to know any. They want people to want to know what the truth is, because they're guilty of crimes against humanity. That's
Yep.
why they all belong in jail at least. So the
Well, things
military and
from
police, when they see our new grassroots federal party coming up right up the middle because of the balance, folks, I
mhm.
hope you're on the right side of history. I really do, because I feel like you want to be. Yeah, I feel like there needs to be
Oh
system
yeah.
change, and it's not going to be chaotic. The
No.
solutions all come. The
Yeah.
solutions are already there, and
It's
we're going to
gonna be
lead with them.
natural.
We're going to
Yes,
lead with
brother.
them. We know what's
100%.
wrong. We know how this turned into disaster capitalism. We
Yep.
know how to tweak the capitalist system so the rules don't. Um, Capitalism with a consciousness, B Corp business models. It's people, planet, profit, not the other way around.
Yeah.
If you degrade the environment, there has to be a plan for the business to bring in the regenerative agriculturalists to restore it. This could be the minimum standard for capitalism in Canada. You
Yeah,
know,
I agree.
there's all the solutions are there. They're already developed in through People's Reset and through the Murph's Life's Mission and all these things. There's all kinds of different alternative currencies. We don't
Yep.
have to go fall for Bitcoin in the ledger and all that stuff, because
Mhm.
this is who's running the place. Satanism, Satanists. What's their? You remember I told you about the cover of National Geographic? I know you did that. I listened to the 7-part thing that you did, and we need to talk about that too. But I got it breaking down to four main ones here.
Okay.
This is so self-preservation is the highest order. So this is why they want to live forever, because they don't believe in an afterlife. They think when you're dead, and that's it. There's nothing else besides the physical realm. There is no spiritual realm. Therefore, they're scared to death of death. So this is why they're going to try to cheat the system by basically becoming synthetic beings and merging with technology and computers and AI, and put the chip, put your consciousness in the cloud, whatever other robotic means they can enhance themselves with.
Yep.
They're trying to cheat death,
Yep.
and that's a self-preservation is the highest order thing. So these
Hmm.
people would not sacrifice themselves for their own children. As a matter of fact, they would sacrifice their own children. Actually, they do.
Yeah, they
For
do.
all kinds of other things.
Yeah,
They do.
it's true, man.
they're only about their own lives is all that matters, and they want to live forever. It's a psychotic. They're insane. So, and then there's moral relativism. So that's, as long as it feels good for me, that means it's good. It's just like truth, objective truth. Truth is there's an objective truth. There's an ultimate truth. Truth isn't just what we think it is. Truth isn't just, that's new age spiritual bullshit. And it's being pushed through new age spiritual, Eastern philosophies and practices here in North America. And one of the big ones is solipsism. Oh, everybody's truth is just as valid as everybody else because it's real to them. And be careful, because that falls under moral relativism, which is one of the four tenets of Satanism. So no, truth isn't relative. There's an actual truth of how the universe works and how nature operates. Is your opinion of it is how clean is your lens of perception that we talked about before the last show. That's what it's all about. The cleaner your lens of perception is, the more aware you are of the ultimate truth of the matter. So, but in their case, as long as it feels good to them, it's good because they think they're God. So, well, they think they're dominant. I should say, they think they can dominate nature and humanity and own the planet and do whatever they want with it, exploit it for whatever reason, and either kill off it, because depopulation's a thing. They tell you all about that repeatedly. They etch it in stones in monuments that they took down because we were on the Georgia Guidestones. And they talk about it over, and they're not afraid to stand up there and say, yeah, the population of the planet should be 500 million people. So moral relativism, as in, so therefore, if I want to, sacrifice babies and drink their blood and it feels good for me, well, then that means it's good. I can do whatever I want. What you think was moral and what, it has no bearing on me. Mm-hmm. So it's moral relativism. And this is also what's happening when people will take money over following their own moral compass. And these people in these professions, when they know what they're being told to do is wrong, or they'll lose their job, but they keep doing it because they like the money. They want the money more than their own morality. Like what the hell? Yeah. And this is commonplace now. And so social Darwinism is another one that basically they can walk all over everybody to get to the top. The lower echelons of society are just they're useless eaters. They tell you. Those useless eaters. That's social Darwinism. You guys are worthless, so therefore we should be able to do whatever we want with you. We're going to throw you in. We're going to enslave you with Bill C9, kick you off the internet with Bill C22 because you're telling the truth. We'll do whatever we want with you because we're better than you, and you're a piece of crap, and pretty so much, and we deserve to be the kings and queens of this land. We deserve and do whatever we want with it.
We deserve to be punished for our thinking.
Social Darwinism. And then there's eugenics. So eugenics is basically, okay, we decide who lives and dies. You people who don't want to merge with the technology and become synthetic beings, and you people who don't want to the technocratic state, or you're not into the transhumanist technocratic agenda. I don't think they want us to live, honestly. I think they want to live because they're going to be able to live forever. What do they need us for? They got their robots in their drones, man. Like we're We're the useless eaters. We're useless to them. We can't be their slaves anymore, so they're going to get rid of us. That's the eugenics part. And that's who's running the place. And what they're doing is they're trying to turn the population into them. They're trying to turn this population into a bunch of type 2 psychopaths. And the way they do it to their own children is if these people, that there's been whistleblowers that come out that grow up in multi-generational satanic families, and they're abused so bad till the time they're 7, what they're actually doing is they're breaking the child's spirit, because they see all the feminine principles as weaknesses. Mainly empathy and care. They want to beat that right out of people. Because if you care, you're going to take action to stand up for people and yourself and the planet and whatever. So the cremation of care ceremony, if you heard that from Bohemian Grove or whatever, that's one of the rituals. They don't want you to be creative because you'll figure stuff out. You'll do your art, you'll put it into the world, you'll change the world. That's what this is all about over here. They don't want us doing that. They don't want us to be in, and this is why they intentionally put us way out of balance with the feminine side of things for those reasons, because it's so powerful. Creativity, care, nurturing the children. I mean, yourself, Paul, like the matriarch's role in
Yes, sir.
in indigenous culture and in First Nations culture, like, it's and just because if it's a male playing that role and a female playing the other role, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about that. Be who you are and play your role, however that is. It doesn't mean just because you're playing the masculine role and you're a female. If that's who you are, that's who you are. Nobody cares. Just do it. just do it. Nobody's gonna freak out about it and be all gender biased about it. That's what the unhinged mentally ill people that are running around freaking out about everything are doing. So
Yes.
when we just want to protect children from becoming lifelong medical, pharmaceutical subjects, and not even they're not even allowed to be told about the harms of the whole thing. Like, it's unfair. It's unfair.
Mm-hmm.
And it's predatory. It's predatorial. I mean, that's a final solution at the most. So when you get that extreme, you're going to be and it's actually who they're mainly preying upon is gay people. Just if they just let them go through, figure out their own sexual orientation through their teenage years and through puberty, a lot of them just end up being gay.
Long ago, they went after
we're all for gay rights, and there's a lot of gay people that are totally opposed to what's going on with this.
I live in Mississauga. Nobody wears, very few people wear poppy. Downtown Toronto, forget it. Downtown Toronto, nobody wears the poppy. And I'm not going to. He says, wait a minute. How about running it for the people that buy them? Now you go to the small cities, and the roads on roads, people love you. They come here, whatever it is. You love our way of life. You love our milk and honey. At least you can pay a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that. These guys pay for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. Anyhow, I'm going to run it again for you great people, good Canadians that bought a poppy. I'm still going to run it anyhow.
Yeah.
Yep. Good example of cancellation.
Sure. Yeah. Well, he should have been canceled for that, but
Yeah, it's absolutely
But
insane what happens.
these guys are
Military,
basically
militant.
military. It's basically a cult, so they can go fight bankers' wars for opium and stuff, or for opioids and whatnot. It's not a there's not much to right. There's not been too many righteous wars lately. So it's everybody's. That's just it's another game. It's another game. It's another game of eugenics.
Yep.
And there was a lot of this going on in World War II, by the way, that everybody was in on. It looks like one side versus the other side, but it's not. These guys play both sides. These are the extreme communists and the extreme capitalists. They're not enemies. They're the same families. They make it look that way. That there's some kind of illusion of choice, like we have right now with our government, but they're all wings of the same bird. Yeah, so they abuse what they're doing with satanic ritual abuse is they're programming their children, they're beating the empathy out of them because they see it as a weakness. Because if you don't care about killing whoever to climb your way to the top, or if you only care about yourself, if as long as it feels good to you, that's good. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Rape, murder, whatever, as long as it feels good to you, it's moral. Climb over everybody to get to the top, and we can say who lives or dies. Like that, this is what's going on. So, in order to pull all this off, the person can't have any empathy. The person can't have any care, the creative aspects, all the divine feminine aspects. And this is what they're doing with their children is they're creating what we call type 2 psychopaths who are so left-brained and balanced. It's like they're here and there's like just a dot of feminine energy, just a dot. And if they can't get you in that category, which is just going to order you around to create mayhem on the planet, because their order followers are the same way. That's why they want to turn everybody into Satanists, and they can just order them around because they love harming people.
Yeah,
and then they can throw them in the other side.
And that brings me back to Ephesians 6:4. And you fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath. That says a lot right there. Do not teach your children to hate. To hate the sin, not the sinner.
It's so sad that children are brought up to just to hate the others because their parents
it is
believe they hate others. So when you see these whole countries that just hate the other race because they were brought up that way, like that's so crazy. And it's always the innocent people that got caught in the middle, man. Like, is this one side versus the other side? Like, this is craziness that's happening in Israel and Palestine, and it's just, it's
very sad, man.
It's very sad because it's the common people that get caught in the middle of it that take all the brunt of all of it.
And it violates do not murder. I mean, can we not just get that first? Let's start with that point right there, and end May.
Yeah. So what they'll do is so all the pedophilia and all the rape and all the murder and all the sacrifice of babies and stuff like that, they subject their children to that.
Yes.
And what they're doing, they'll get their children to stab a baby to death and say, you remember what you did? You killed that baby. Like this is so psychotic. And I'm telling you this, I've been down these rabbit holes, and it's not easy. It's not easy. People that say we're just making shit up, like screw you, because you don't have you're too much of a coward to even look into it because you don't want to upset your little world, your little made up fantasy worldview. That's
and your
nothing
you don't want to
about the real world.
Indeed.
So That's what I have to say about that.
It's sad.
We've
is
gone
sad.
we've gone down these rabbit holes. We've listened to the victims. We've listened to the whistleblowers who came out of these cults. We've gone over the evidence of people like what's his name?
Yep.
You know, the guy who did all the FXB the ex FBI agent that did all the research into Satanism and ritual abuse. It'll pop into my head in a second. But he you know, they finally got him, but like he put 10 years of material out there before they finally killed him. Ted Gunderson. There's a number of them. And so anyways, what they're doing is if the child doesn't get programmed in that way by the time they're 7, they can't do anything. They're unprogrammable. Their spirit cannot be broken. If they make it to 7, their spirit can't be broken because at age 7, it's all programming. So they mind control them right up. Some of them make it to 7 and they can't program them. They just become the chauffeur or something. They're not in on the gruesome stuff. But or it's possible that they get out. And there's a number of these cult members that have gotten out and then have been brave enough to tell their stories. And so what they're actually doing, this is a very old, so that's trauma-based mind control, which they're doing on a mass scale with these false flag events. So the execution of JFK in the public square, that's trauma-based mind control event. They tell him, and they nothing more could have went wrong with that. Like he was supposed to be, 2 or 3 shots and he's done. They had to stop the car. Like that was the last. That was the last resort. And then some 20-year-old in the train shot him. Well, that's where the evidence points. So, anyways, that was a trauma-based mind control event. That's a killing of the king ritual, actually. It's a ritual, a killing of the king ritual. There's been another number of those. Michael Jackson. Anyways, so that's what they do with their kids. It's trauma-based mind control is what satanic ritual abuse is. And so it's happened with 9/11 was a trauma-based mind control event. And what just happened with COVID was a trauma-based mind control event. That's why everybody's scared of the flu. And anyways, but it's, it affects a lot of the population. So what they're actually doing is they're breaking down this person's brain so bad that they're actually splitting their personalities.
Mm-hmm.
They can force them into multiple personality disorder.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what the goal is. They can't do it. There's only a certain number. It's like hypnotism, right? Some people can be hypnotized, some people can't. Some people's spirit can be broken, some people can't. But a good number of them, they can split their personalities into 4, 5, 6 personalities, and then they can program each one. So that's where you get all your MK Ultra sex slaves and stuff like that. They have a handler to just call them up and say a command like Ravine, and they turn into the prostitute or whatever that role is.
Mm-hmm.
So
all I know is I can't make 2 cents on OnlyFans with feet pictures.
With what?
Feet pictures.
Pictures. Oh man.
I'm sorry. It was rail. Sorry, man.
So yeah, it's so they're basically doing the same thing to us, and that's why psychologically, if you take the average North American and psychologically evaluate them, they're basically an abused child, abused by the state. That's what the psychology says.
Yep. And I think
almost
humor
they're
is a
a
good.
ritually traumatic mind control
I think
abused
humor
person.
humor is
That's
important,
where they're
like
at.
just as a break to the
Yeah, I know.
mind-boggling
That's a lot of
reality of
dark stuff,
truth.
and we had all this light stuff here, but then
But the
yeah, the
mind-boggling
shadow
reality
work.
of truth
It's
needs
disturbing.
like release. You know what I mean? Because you're giving so much of a truth bomb that my little joke is just a way to just relax.
It
You're
went way over
human.
my head. I don't think I
You're
really heard
human.
what you even said.
Yeah, like say it's okay. You're human. You're meant to be relax, relax, because we're all doing this
I
together,
know.
and
I'll get
all
all
of it's
worked up
going to be
about this.
known
I'll
by
start
everybody
crying. Oh, dude.
because we're coming to a reassertion of the Creator into our lives, and it's going to be beautiful. This is the hard part, but there is a good finish.
Sure. I mean, everything has its antithesis too, right? Like you hear the
Yeah,
seven deadly sins. Well, then there's the seven, there's the antithesis to that, right? The seven, what is it, generosity and all those ones. You know better than me, probably.
the seven gifts.
But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Hmm.
And so the only other really thing I was wanted to say was something that I just forgot.
Was it? Hey, did it have anything to do with this?
That's cool. The old periodic table.
You got
Yeah,
that.
well, just the idea, like
It's all there.
it's all there, man. Like
How cool is that?
helium and hydrogen and
Yeah,
like the life of a star is fascinating.
it's right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. Yeah, isn't that awesome?
I was so into that when I was in my Carl Sagan phase. I just fascinated by it all.
We're almost at 3 hours. How'd that happen? Somebody's messing around with the
I know,
clock.
it feels like we only talked for like an hour and a half.
That is the problem because actually that's not a problem. That's a solution. It's great though. I love this because I don't have 3 hour podcasts with
Well,
anybody
there's
else. So
yeah,
it's because
we
of
can
the time. Because look, man, we're looking at. I'm leaving Facebook Tuesday, next Tuesday,
so you're
and
podcasting every night until then.
I've got every night is scheduled right now. But this is like biblical right now. This is I am meant to leave. I am intended to leave. I'm also assigned by leaving. I'm signaling. I'm not saying to leave. I won't tell you what to do. You could stay. It's not
Hey,
going to
great.
harm you. But I'm just going to uh, express whatever I can to make it as easy as possible for the transformation and the restoration of our fellow man.
Yeah, write some songs about it all. Get back into
I did.
play in the
I did.
band, go on tour, bud.
Dude, I was
Go on tour, bud.
I was writing a song tonight.
I'll be your roadie. I'll be your roadie.
I was writing a song tonight, and I got one on the hook right now.
Whoa.
But things are
Well,
changing. Yeah, things are changing.
music
I
music's one of the
prefer to
best
be.
medicines, right? Like holistic medicine's a lot different than,
Yeah,
petrochemical poison. Because another one of the big one more thing I'd like to say about Satanism is their what they do is they make this synthetic virtual reality crap that they're trying to
yeah,
sell us as
yeah,
being better than the natural thing.
yep.
Look at medicine. Look at medicine.
Same thing.
And all kinds of different things, right? Like there's always been this, they want to lead us to believe that
We can do better.
nature is harmful
Yep.
and that their poisons are helpful and natural. you can when it
Yep.
comes to can carbon dioxide being the poison that's going to kill us all, and global warming, all that stuff. It's absolute bull crap. The truth is, um, it's particle pollution. Why won't they? Why won't they talk about particle pollution? Why won't they talk about the soot and stuff that goes in
Yeah.
the air that people breathe in and get cancer from, and that actually float in the air and water particles form on them, and it causes acid rain. So they're building all these things in China, and so that's why it's snowing in Saudi Arabia and stuff. Now that's kind of more
Yep.
of a local climate change, but the pollution, the pollutant is their fossil fuel stuff, and it's their pollution they're putting, it's their own pollution they're putting in the air that they want us to believe that it's carbon dioxide when it's actually a bunch of other crap, and that goes for all kinds of different things. The medicine they want to believe that
Yeah.
mRNA, whatever it is, which is not a vaccine, it's gene
Oh God,
therapy.
no.
That
Oh my God, with
that's some kind of
cryo
all them toxins in that shot and all this, and
DARPA
that.
shit.
But I was in an
Yep.
argument in some Frank magazine about this, how us crazy conspiracy theorists are talking about how vitamin D could be do something about this, be any help for COVID. It's
Hmm.
like, really? I don't even know why I argue about it. It's like, man, that's like vitamin D is it's not even, it's more than just a
All right,
vitamin, it's
we
like
should
a freaking
wrap it up though.
hormone. Yeah, I'll,
We're gonna have
go
a
on
part
that.
three. Come on now.
I'll go on that.
So we're
Okay,
gonna have a part three.
wrap it
There's
up.
no doubt
Wrap it
about
up,
it.
my friend.
I already know.
I'll ramble all
And
night.
it's good. It's good. We're here for you, we're not here for us. I'm not talking for me. And he's not talking for him. He's talking, he's sharing. I'm not here to be famous. Trust me. I am not famous. Just look at my numbers. They're not good.
I didn't even want to go. I didn't even want to go public. All I did,
That's
it felt like I
because
had no other choice.
but that's because
I'm an introvert.
the truth isn't popular in a tyrannical space. When when the tyrannical people are in control, the truthers are demonized, destroyed. Dissent is not tolerated. But I was compelled to leave here, and I want to thank you, Rob, for joining me and sharing, your knowledge and wisdom and your compassion about your fellow man. And that's what we're really here for. Is we're hoping that we can touch you and inspire you to become who you were meant to be, and you were meant to be. God doesn't make mistakes. There is no oops in heaven,
Well,
right?
thanks a lot, buddy. And it's not. It's and knowledge is just like it's not meant to be hoarded. It's not meant to be hoarded either. Like, I have no right to hoard this information. I'm supposed to let it flow to the seekers,
Hmm.
and knowledge isn't power. It's got to be applied. It's applied
Yeah.
knowledge that's power, and applied knowledge is wisdom. And changing our world using it is actually what wisdom is. So let's
Well, I thank
create
you.
the new world, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
joining me
you
again,
so
brother.
much. Yeah.
It was a pleasure, and I look forward to more. I really do. And I hope that together we can help others.
Yeah. Even if we can just get together and play some music and at some of our spiritual gatherings would be awesome. You got that? Yeah.
Guitar
Yeah,
for
but you're
you,
way up in Ontario.
piano for
I'm gonna fly. I'm
me.
gonna fly out there.
Right. That's what I do, man. Thank you, Brad. I love you.
I love
Thank you
you
for
too, bud.
coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you so much. And I want to thank everybody at home for joining us on the Truth Table. The last week,
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!